Marcos cabinet. Good evening, Congressman Boying Remulla. Can we begin with this? So you're a re-elected. You want a fresh term as congressman. What's going to happen to your position? Who's going to take your place? What happens next?
Via the law, under the law, there are two options here. One is a caretaker can come in to deliver the funds to my district, whatever funds are allocated by the government, and the other one is for a special election to be called, which might be better because it will just be the beginning of my term, and there's a lot of time left. 3 years is a long time. That to have no representative in Congress. That's why, well, hopefully, we'll be able to work out a special election for my district.
Right. When we speak about you being Justice Secretary, by the way, no, when were you told that you would be Justice Secretary, or matagal nyo na itong pinag-usapan ni BBM even before the election or right after?
Pia, I didn't apply to be secretary, kasi first of all, I really ran to be a member of the House, and I was expecting to become the majority leader of the House. No? That's already an arrangement that was being worked out with the presumptive speaker. But actually, 2 or 3 days after the elections, I was called by the president-elect to his home, and we had a conversation where he told me that he wanted me to serve as his Justice Secretary. And Pia, as a lawyer, I can tell you it's every lawyer's dream to attain the rank or status, but it's not the point. The point is really to be able to help the government run things. Probably my leadership style might be compatible with the leadership style of the president. And it's just a dream for me to be able to serve in this capacity. And with the problems the country has, somebody has to step up, and I'm willing to take a challenge for this.
Can you give us an idea of what you're going to be doing as Justice Secretary? Like, what kind of program? What are you going to focus on? Are you going to, like, for example, look very well into the prosecutorial service? Other DOJ programs?
Well, the DOJ is a very, very big department, Pia. First of all, what do you have there? You have the Land Registration Commission. We have the National Bureau of Investigation, Bureau of Corrections and Penology, and so many other offices. I mean, name it, the DOJ participates in every government activity. So there's so much to do. And the most important thing probably is the rate of prosecution, acquittal, and conviction that is happening right now, where there are jails, when we talk about overcrowded jails, it's because of the slow pace of justice. So probably it's about time that we audit one thing that the first things we can do is to audit all of the detention prisoners to see if they're allowed, they can be freed already, to decongest the jails, and for those that have to be prosecuted to work double time. Pia, there's a saying, may sinasabi nga, and justice for all. Eh dapat dito ang hustisya para sa lahat talaga, sa mayaman at sa mahirap. Ang nangyayari, ang nagdudusa talaga, yung hindi masyadong, yung walang kaya sa buhay. Kaya kinakailangan bigyan natin ng pag-asa ang taong bayan. Ang hustisya ay naroon para sa lahat. Para sa lahat, mayaman, mahirap, lahat ng Pilipino ay dapat magkaroon ng hustisya.
And justice for all, it's good you brought that up because, for example, there are plenty of wrongful convictions, for example, or there are people who we know we should be in jail or in prison and are out scot-free.
Yes. Maraming rin nakakulong na hindi dapat nakakulong, at marami namang napapawalang salan na may kasalanan talaga. Kailangan talaga bantayan ng gusto, Pia. Dito magkakasubukan dahil ang bigat kasi na kagaya ng NBI, kasama natin ng NBI. Kagaya ang kalaban namin dito sa DOJ, sindikato, di ba? Hindi lang sindikato, mga Pilipinong gustong wasakin ng bayan natin, mga mandaraya, lahat ng uri ng criminal activity, sakop talaga ng ng aming mandate. Kaya talaga we have to hit the ground running and to make sure that all of these things are really solved. Marami kasing pwedeng ma-solve na hindi na-solve dahil hindi hands-on ang ibang tao sa trabaho nila. O kaya, medyo ang institusyon ay walang mababa ang moral, minsan walang budget, at minsan talaga kakuntsaba ng sindikato yung iba. Kaya iayos natin ang lahat. Itama ang mali. Sabi nga ni Ping Lacson, yun, kailangan natin gawin lahat yan.
Okay. In the immediate aftermath of the election, napag-uusapan kasi yung, for example, if BBM were to push his unity theme, his unity campaign theme beyond the campaign and moving forward, that would there be that possibility of the new Marcos administration looking into, for example, the cases against Laila de Lima, who was and very clearly anyway, was a very severe critic of BBM himself.
Well, that would be part of the continuity of the job that I will have. Alam mo naman, PIA is about institutional continuity. Just like the presidency or any department, kailangan tuloy-tuloy ang trabaho niyan. So those cases left hanging, we have to resolve. And everything, if there is a need to review, we will review. Pero, lahat yan, kasama yan, PIA. Politics or no politics, ano yun may kaso talaga yun. Wala tayong magagawa. Ang magagawa lang natin dyan, siguraduhin lang natin na tama ang ginagawa ng justice system sa lahat ng inuusig. At yun ang kailangan natin gawin, ang karapatan igalang natin. Lalo na ang ating constitutional rights.
Well, yun ang importante, to do what is right. Kong Boying, also, we have a minute and a half to go before we let you go because I understand you do have something to attend to. Let's talk very quickly about the canvassing. So you have that petition to cancel yung COC ni BBM pending before the Supreme Court, but at the same time, it is all systems go for the canvassing. You have a 31 million votes for the president-elect and equal number of votes also, give or take, for Sara Duterte. So, dire-diretso lang ito, hindi po ba? The canvassing, as a matter of fact, people are saying perhaps by Wednesday evening or earliest Thursday, we could have a proclamation already.
Well, we hope that we can finish everything by that time. Kasi, Pia, it is our constitutional duty to do this. Hindi naman ito binigay sa Korte Suprema para i-desisyon kung sino magiging presidente ng Pilipinas, di ba? Ang saligang batas, sinabi, the National Board of Canvassers shall be constituted. Kaya gagawin lang namin ang aming tungkulin sa abot ng aming makakaya. Kaya lahat ng sistema ang ginawa namin ngayon dito sa House ay very transparent. And one of the reasons why today I announced that I already admitted that I accepted the invitation of the President to join the cabinet is for transparency sake, no? Kasi kasama ko sa Board of Canvassers, baka mamaya ito na naman meron na namang alingangungaw. We're being transparent, Pia. Pero ito naman kasi, this was set up a long time ago under the leadership structure of the House, as it is under Speaker Velasco. Kasama talaga ako dyan sa listahan niya nung araw pa. But it's better that I disclose it prior to the canvassing para naman no one
can say anything na. Oo.
Diba?
Oo. Well, there are 31 million votes for BBM. And lastly, final words from you.
Ang ginawa namin dito, talaga in the spirit of transparency, there's a space for the lawyers, there's a space for the media, everything is being guarded bipartisanly. Kaya lahat ng pwedeng gawin nandiyan na. And then, under the rules that we will adopt, talagang yung rulings nito will be both the Senate and the House will agree on the rulings. If there are objections, then they will be resolved accordingly under the rules that we will adopt.
All right, final words?
Well, marahil ang isang dahilan kaya tinanggap ko ang hamon na to ay gusto ko talagang sabihin sa tao, no? sa tagal ng aking paglilingkod sa Justice Department, sana mahalin natin ang bayan natin. Ang problema kasi, the nation state is under threat from big business interests. the Filipino should be proud of his country. We should not shoot ourselves in the foot. Tama yung space. Kaya nga bagay kami ni Pangulo, sabi niya magkaisa tayo. I believe that. But, yun nga, sana naman, yung mga hindi nagwagi, matatapos ang canvassing na, tanggapin na. At bigyan ng pagkakataon na maglingkod na maayos ang mga taong nahirang ni Pangulo at lalong-lalo na ang ating President-elect BBM. Sana bigyan naman kami ng pagkakataon na maglingkod. Alam ko na may babatikos, sanay naman tayo sa batikos, pero tingnan natin with an objective eye kung kung talagang tama ang ginagawa namin para sa bansa natin. Diba? Isang bansa sana tayo. Yung unity is really important to our country at this time.
Congressman and soon-to-be Justice Secretary Boying Remulla, thank you very much for being with us tonight, sir. We'll be back after a quick break. Stay tuned. Welcome back. This is Politics as Usual, expeditious, transparent, and credible. That is how House Speaker Lord Alan Velasco is describing what is expected to be the canvassing process for the 2022 presidential and vice presidential elections. Now, before we begin, here are the members of the House contingent to the Joint Canvassing Committee. Over to the Senate. Team that binds our lawmakers together. Senate Secretary Myra Marie, House Secretary General Mark Leandro Mendoza, and House Sergeant at Arms Brigadier General Rodelio Hoxon. Now, our guest is former Senate Secretary Lutgardo Barbo. Secretary Barbo was Senate Secretary when Neni Pimentel was Senate President. That was back in 1998 to 2001. And in 2016 to 2018, when it was Kanene's son, Coco's turn to be SP or Senate President. Secretary Barbo, good evening. Thank you very much for joining us on the show. Although you were not Senate Secretary at the time of the canvassing for any of the national elections, whether it was 92, 98, 2004, 2010 or 2016, you did have that experience when it comes to congressional canvassing. Can you do a little bit of reminiscing for us and, at the same time, describe the differences? Because dati manual tayo and then ngayon automated, since 2010 automated.
Number one, hindi na masyadong makikita sa automated yung mga mali-mali na mga sinusulat. Halimbawa, tatanungin, hindi yan, yung boto na yan ay para sa ganitong tao. Except siguro kung sabihin na may item sonams or identity of ballots, identity of names, item sonams. At saka, ngayon, mabilis na dahil sineshade na lang. Wala nang isinusulat na mga pangalan. Kung minsan yung pagsulat, hindi pa maintindihan. At noon, medyo mabagal talaga. It took a few months, hindi lang weeks, para malaman kung sino talaga ang tunay na nanalo. Pero ngayon, masyadong mabilis. In fact, so bilis, sabi nung iba, na nabibigla sila.
Kanina nga kausap ko si Boying Remulla, sabi niya, dati nagre-reklamo tayo pag mabagal ang canvassing, ngayong mabilis. Yung canvassing o yung bilangan, nagre-reklamo din sa ano ba talaga. Pero I mean, napakalaking bagay na automated, hindi po ba, sir?
Totoo. Totoo yan na siguro there can even be improvement of the automated, imbis na shading, kasi marami pang kwan dyan. Minsan hindi tinatanggap ng machine. Kung halimbawa, yung, alam mo, may mga matatanda na medyo gumagalaw-galaw na yung kamay, lumalabas na sa circle na isi-shade. At yun ay kino-consider ng machine na marked ballot at minsan hindi kinakount yan. Siguro yung iba dyan, yung kagaya sa Europe at saka sa Amerika, pinipindot na lang. Pindutan na lang.
Parang ATM. ATM na lang.
Parang ATM, oo. Ngayon, ang concern din naman dyan ng ibang tao, madali magkaroon ng corruption, especially yung mga naboto, nabili na boto. Yung votes. Yung nabili na boto, votes. And then, you can never erase suspicions. Some of the suspicions are reasonable, and some are totally baseless. But perhaps the prime consideration is the counting, and of course the vote honest, safe, and was it an exercise of sovereignty, not a prostituted vote as a result of bribe money, yung mga ganon.
Okay. Well, Secretary, so when we say congressional canvassing, of course, hindi ang balota ang tinitingnan ng Senate and House in joint Congress ng National Board of Canvassers, but yung mga certificates of canvass, and yun yung in-inspect, and yun yung nagiging basis ng congressional canvassing, no? When we think about that, what should people expect in the next few days?
Pia, I think people should expect to find monotony in that because alam na nila kung sino ang nanalo.
Yes.
Alam na nila kung sino ang nakalalamang. In fact, alam na nila kung sino ang number 2, sino ang nag-number 3. Kasi sa COMELEC ay hindi naman na proclaim, Yan ay ano ba tawag yan? The COMELEC counted yun.
Yes.
Now, but the COMELEC has no authority to proclaim the presidential and the vice presidential. Hanggang senatorials lang sila. Because under the Constitution, kailangan ang the National Board of Canvassers, yung Senate at saka House, ang magpro-proclaim ng winning presidential at saka vice presidential
So,
candidate.
Secretary Barbara, we're just going to have to take a very quick break. More when we return. This is Politics as Usual. We are on our final stretch, the last 6 minutes of the show. Still with us, former Senate Secretary Lutgardo Barbo. Sir, itong pending petition to cancel the COC of BBM at the Supreme Court, Tito Soto, for example, SP Tito Sen, and Senate Minority Leader Frank Drilon have said that this should not be, and I'm paraphrasing them, this should not be affecting the canvassing. Matutuloy yung canvassing, it won't really matter in the end. Is that how you see it also? Dapat diretso lang tayo sa canvassing?
I think so. Kasi under the Constitution, sinasabi na not more than 30 days, dapat i-convene yung National Board of Canvassers. In other words, the Senate and the House are under obligations to organize themselves and check into the winners of the presidential and vice presidential candidates.
And whatever the Supreme Court decides on, whether it does or does not cancel the COC of BBM, it will not impact on the work of the House and the Senate. Or siguro more correctly, if the Senate does sorry, if the Supreme Court does say now, all right, we're going to cancel the COC of BBM, medyo we have a problem there, right? But do you see
Okay.
that happening? That could plunge us in the constitutional crisis, wouldn't it?
It depends on the Constitution and in the conviction of the members of the Supreme Court. Remember, they were appointed by the president, the incumbent president, and dito sa Pilipinas, hindi pa yata nawawala yung utang na loob.
Okay,
Kaiba.
sir, what are you saying? That you think that they should cancel his COC? What are you saying?
Well, ano ito, conjectural lang ito and speculative. Now, I think the Supreme Court should look into the basis of the complaint. Halimbawa lang sabihin nila na ay dapat siya ma-disqualify because he violated the law because up to now Bongbong, or you do not want to call him Bongbong, BBM, is a convicted criminal. And he is under the judicial records of the judiciary natin, he is a convicted felon. And we should be guided by that.
Yeah. But how do
But
we...
on the other
yeah.
hand,
Oo. Sige po, kayo muna.
on the other hand, baka naman sabihin, oo, teka muna, kalaki-laki ng lamang o boto niya, 31 million. You simply want to erase that number of votes, right or wrong, boto yan ng mga tao.
But there
And
is...
I think,
Yes, of course, definitely the fact should be looked into. But there is, like you brought it up yourself, no, there is that question, 31 million votes for BBM, an overwhelming amount of votes that we've never seen in history. And then, ang laki ng lamang niya kay Lenny. Di ba? So, paano yun eh? Parang, does that make it, para bang nagiging political question na ito? And then, paano... how will the Supreme Court step into the fray, so-called, di ba? Because people have voted. You have 31 million Filipinos voting for BBM. Less than half of that number voting for the second placer, Lenny. And then the Supreme Court coming in and saying, well, he's a convicted, let's cancel his COC. That should have happened before, long before. And then there is also that question, long before he ran for president, he ran for Congress, ran for governor, ran for the Senate. And tuloy-tuloy lang siya. No one questioned him at that point. So, paano to?
yes. Well, yes, to some extent. To some
Ang gulo
extent,
niyan.
it will be chaotic. Yeah, magulo yan.
Because some will say, dapat ang second placer, dapat si Lenny mag-presidente. Yung iba magsasabi, kung i-disqualify nyo o kung ika-cancel yung COC ni BBM, dapat si Sara kasi siya mag-VP, di ba? O, paano na?
Oo, magulo.
Ang gulo
Magulo
nito.
na yan.
Naku, ito na naman tayong Pilipinas. Paano po yun, sir?
Kaya nga siguro, dapat maganda at mahusay at based on facts, yung magiging analysis ng decision. Kasi the law must be upheld at all times.
Right.
Sabi nga nila doon, di ba sa may mga sinasabi noon na justice should reign, heavens may fall, parang ganyan.
Yes.
Whatever happens, justice should be, parang ganon. Ngayon, kung halimbawa, kasi sa susunod, gagawin na
President?
parang president. You can be convicted criminal and then you run for the highest public official. Kaya nga siguro dapat maganda at mahusay at based on facts yung magiging analysis ng decision. Kasi the law must be upheld at all times.
Right.
Sabi nga nila doon, di ba sa may mga sinasabi noon na justice should reign, heavens may fall, parang ganyan.
Yes.
Whatever happens, justice should be, parang ganon. Ngayon, kung halimbawa, kasi sa susunod, gagawin na kwan yan, gagawin na
President?
parang president. You can be convicted criminal and then you run for the highest public officials.
But anyway, well, we just need to wrap this up already, Secretary Lutz Barbo. But yun na nga, no, mauunang matapos ng trabaho ang ang National Board of Canvassers, yung Senate at yung House. Dahil 15 days pa para mag-comment, sabi nga nung Korte Suprema, dun sa petition to cancel yung COC ni BBM. Anyway, sir, maraming salamat po. Thank you very much for your time tonight. We've been told before, don't talk politics at the dinner table or at a family reunion or in Viber groups and risk digital warfare. But we can talk about it here at this table on this show, your weekly political appointment fix, politics as usual. I'm Pia Ontiveros. See you back here next Tuesday, 8:30 p.m.